going to be a first-round guy. But right now he's he's outside the top 20, right? So 21 kind of slotted in, 21 and later.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to surprise a lot of people. That might end up, when you look back on these drafts later down the road and you say, how did that guy go, 27th? There's a really good player in baseball. I can't remember his name now. He was drafted 25th, I think, overall. And you go, he might be the best player in the world. And you go, how did 24 picks go by? So give me a guy who maybe not to that level, but a guy you look back and you go, how wasn't he a top 5, 10 pick?
So there's two ways I was looking at this. Is you could go high upside. I think Casey Martin is a guy that I've always loved. He struggled this year, and he always seemed to struggle to start the season. He's a streaky guy, but he's tooled up. He's got legit speed. He might be the fastest guy in the class. He's got legit power, so he's got legit tools. And if he puts it together.
I was just going to say, for people who don't know him, Casey Martin's the shortstop at Arkansas.
I do think defensively he's not good enough to stay there, whether that's second, whether it's third, whether it's center.
Right.
We'll find out. I just hate moving a guy that fast to third base. It just kind of defeats the purpose of first step quickness and things like that. So he's a high upside guy that I really have always liked. I fell in love with him as freshman year. I was older than him. I was watching play once, and I was like, this dude's got swag, and he loves himself some Casey Martin, and you always love to see that confidence. And there's like a lot like Javi Baez, think that just tooled up. He's kind of got the same build. He's got the same max effort swing, same power, but not as good defensively and not likely to stick at shortstop. But then there's another guy, college bad out of LSU. He's pretty much hit at every level, is Daniel Cabrera. I came across him, and I thought Brett Gardner right away. And if the power comes, Daniel Cabrera does fit the Yankees mold. Like I said, they go kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Cabrera goes in the first round, and it'll be after 20. I think that's 100%. But a team might take him if they think they could get a guy that falls. They'll underslot him in the end of the first round. He's a guy that's going to hit, and he's hit at every level. He's a hit over power guy. The power play will play enough because, again, it's elite bat to ball skills. Those guys tend to develop later power, and you worry that he's a college guy, but that doesn't concern me too much. But then the last guy I go to is a guy that I think if he had a full spring, would have probably creeped up into the top 30, is Jared Schuster out of Wake Forest. And the stuff just showed up this spring. And I think he was up to 98 from the left side his first start. He was punching tickets. The command is not there. It's not ideal situation. He's not an ideal arm, but that's a guy that I think a lot of teams will be looking at the end of the first round because of the jump he made this year. And I think if he had a full spring and showed that the stuff was legit and it carried over a full season, that's probably a compensation right after the first round type guy that could develop into a very formidable MLB starter.
And I'm really happy. Like the Schuster thing is just something to think about with this year because of so many guys. We talked how hitting is going to be so important for these major league teams, but you didn't have that spring to see people. And some breakout guys, they're gonna miss that. Those guys are gonna fall, and you might end up with more of a possibility of guys falling because they didn't have that spring to pop and be seen by everybody to climb these draft boards. Who might, 7 years down the road to go, how did that guy get drafted there?
Thank you for checking out the Backside Groundballs Baseball Podcast on YouTube. If you want to listen to full episodes of the show, it is available on every podcast app. If you enjoyed this segment, feel free to subscribe to the podcast as well as here on YouTube. Be sure to help us in spreading the podcast to baseball fans everywhere by rating, reviewing, and most importantly, sharing. If you ever want to reach out with a question or just to talk baseball, feel free to follow us both on Twitter. Our inboxes are always open. Links are in the description.